More and more exciting new titles coming to the Oculus Quest. VR chat hitting record numbers thanks to the Quest 2, and even more on this. Welcome once again to the VR Untethered podcast. As always, I am as untethered from reality as I can possibly be, and I'm still not Brad. The real Brad is still not able to do the podcast. He's in a situation where he doesn't have the good enough internet to be able to make it right now. So, unfortunately, you are stuck with this not Brad face for yet another solo edition of the VR Untethered podcast. So, let's, with no further ado, start with my highlights of the week. My highlight of the week was, I've got to say, Population 1 and their launching of their Energy Core limited time event. It's a formula that has worked for Fortnite over and over again, and it is proving, in my opinion, to work for Population 1 as well. We had 6 days, of which there are still 3 days left as of this recording, I believe, to find all 20 energy cores hidden around the map. And it makes it take a little while to get all 20 because you also are in a match and playing the game of kill and don't be killed. So it can make it a little challenging to just hunt for the energy cores. Some of them were a little trickier to find than others. I managed to get all 20 just earlier tonight. I'm recording this late on Sunday night instead of the usual Saturday morning. So I finally got the last one earlier tonight. Other people managed to get all 20 on the very first day of the event. But so some of them are a little harder to find than others. But they also make it interesting, and they help you to find them a little bit, because when you are nearby them, you can hear a sonar ping that changes frequency and I think or it changes pitch, and it changes the speed at which it is the pinging, I believe, as well, as you get closer to it. When you're within sight of it, you can see a red glow around where it is, and then you just need to go up to it and grab it just like you would a pickup in the game. So all they unlock is exclusive cosmetic skins for 3 of your guns. So it's not like you win a super special weapon that you can pull out at any time or whatever. No, it's just cosmetics. But still, it's fun. It has a little bit of variety to the game, and I think they did a good job with it. Now, unfortunately, I have some sad news regarding Population 1. Evidently, there was a hacker in the game. I'm not privy to all of the details, but evidently there was a hacker in the game over this weekend who managed to somehow be able to kill everybody in the match, including when they were in their pod still, before they'd even dropped out of the pod set to come down. So he's been reported. The big box is looking into it, and they're gonna take care of that, patch whatever hole, so figure it out. So, but yeah, it's that's both good and bad. It's bad that it happened, obviously, but it's good in a way that the game is seen as popular enough to warrant the effort it takes to hack. So there you have it. And with that said, moving on to the new release of the week. Yep, only one that I saw, and I forgot about it last week, obviously. I said I wasn't sure what was coming out. I think we had a date for this, but I just slipped my mind last week. So, V-Time has come out for the Quest. This is another social app where you can hang out and talk with people. Unlike Allspace, unlike Rec Room, unlike VR Chat, you're not wandering around and moving through a world. You're not interacting with things. There are no games. It's just sitting around in a circle and chatting with friends. Now, this is cross-platform between Quest, Gear VR, Go, PC VR, flat screen on Android and iOS, etc. So it's got a lot of potential users to go in. And this has been out since Gear VR, where it was, in my opinion, one of the more innovative apps for the Gear VR, because even though the Gear VR just had the one 3DOF controller, V-Time made artificially animated avatars so that as you were talking, you would gesture with your hands in a way that looked natural and normal, and your head would move a little bit and your eyes would move a little bit, and it would animate your avatar so that it behaved like a person talking does. Obviously, it's not a one-to-one match with what you would actually do, but it gave the impression that even more than just moving one hand would have been, it gave the impression that there was a real person behind it. And they have some truly awesome environments to be chatting in. I remember chatting, sitting on, what was it, like a picnic bench or something, hanging off the side of a cliff with like a 3,000 foot drop underneath us. That's a pretty spectacular place to be chatting. Now, the drawback that I found to it is, it can, back then it was still early and we didn't have the user base that we probably do now, so some of this does not necessarily translate to the current version and state of affairs. But back in the early days, I found it hard sometimes to get into a group to talk with, because you either had to host a room or join a room. There was no just milling about in a public lobby and finding people. You had to randomly join a stranger's room, which for a lot of people that takes a lot of courage. Even in a virtual environment, it takes a lot of courage to go ring the virtual doorbell and say, "Hey, can I come into your home and just talk with you?" Yeah. So, and I tended to get the impression of cliques forming. Like, I would see a group that had an opening for 2 more people, and I'd send a request, it would get denied. Tried another group, send a request, it got denied. Over and over again. And I noticed that it was always the same groups that were chatting, because you can see the usernames, or you who could, even if you didn't know who they were, you could still see a list of the people in the rooms. However, when you got into a room and you were chatting with people, it worked well and it was fun. You can bring in pictures and videos. You can bring in 360-degree photos, so that it basically puts a photosphere around you. And when you get into a room, it's a lot of fun. You know? Personally, that's not one I'll be getting because I've got enough social apps and I don't really need another one, and I don't really go on just to talk to people. That's not that's just not me. I can be social, but I'm not a social butterfly. So, but hey, if this sounds like a good match for you, it is a quality app, so go ahead and go check it out. Upcoming titles. As hinted at the very beginning of the video. Oh, and by the way, if you like what you see with being on me or with it being with me and Brad together talking, please feel free to like and subscribe and hit the notification button so that you are notified when we have a new video for you to watch. We would greatly appreciate it. We are trying to grow this channel. And back to our regularly scheduled program. Upcoming titles, as hinted before, we have a lot of out of the blue, seemingly new titles popping up that are coming to Quest. Prison Boss is coming to Quest on December 3rd. That is a game that I had absolutely no inkling was even thought or even thinking about coming to the Oculus Quest. So I know I watched a little bit of gameplay of it before from Rowdy Guy and others on YouTube. And again, it looks like a game that's not really my cup of tea, but I know it is a lot of other people's cups of tea. I don't know. It's something a lot of other people would enjoy. If you are one of those people and have been wanting to try it out, but you don't have access to a gaming PC to use Link or Virtual Desktop, here is your chance. On December 3rd, Prison Boss. So, another surprise announcement for an upcoming title was Virtual Fighting Championship. That is, there was a notification that they are working on a Quest port. My guess is it would probably be, or I believe it said actually that it would be side quests. So rather than an official stories. But even that, I mean, a lot of people are using side quests lately, and at some point in the indefinite near future, Facebook is going to be enabling that kind of store-hosted side loading. So when exactly that'll happen, I don't know, but when that happens, Virtual Fighting Championship will be able to be side loaded with just a quick. So there's that is coming. It's a game that I greatly enjoy, even though it's a little bit more cartoony and arcadey looking. It has just as much realism in some aspects as Thrill of the Fight does. It's obviously, in real life, you're not going to be able to punch someone and have poison come out of your fist and poison him and slowly weaken him for 10 seconds or whatever. There's no real life power-ups, obviously. But this tracks a lot of the same stuff that Thrill of the Fight tracks. And it can detect a backhand or an overhand strike. Whereas Thrill of the Fight, it doesn't detect those as a separate thing. So, and I believe, according to their Discord, they are working on incorporating other things than just your fist to be hitting with, like your elbow, which in real martial arts is used a lot. Elbow to the face or whatever. So I'm excited to see how they're going to implement that, and then I'm excited to see how it's going to work on the Quest, or in my case, the Quest 2. So I'm looking forward to that. We have Contractors finally coming, and I believe it also will be on December 3rd. I've been in the beta of that for a little bit. It's a very good-looking first-person shooter. I'd call it probably kind of like halfway between Onward and Pavlov. It's not quite as milsim as Onward, but it's not quite as Pavlov as Pavlov. If that makes any sense. So it has its own space in the first-person shooter niche, I believe. So we also have Deus Beyond Kronos coming on December 3rd. This is a sequel to the I don't know if you'd call it a game or a visual novel or what, but to come to a sequel to Tokyo Kronos, if I believe, which was a mostly non-interactive like manga that took place around you, and was the first, I believe, $40 game on the Gear VR or the Go. So this is, I believe, more interactive. So this is, you are actually piloting a mecha and doing giant mech battles and whatnot. So, and I believe this is a sequel, or is in the same universe as Tokyo Kronos. So it's one that I would be interested in. I don't know what the price will be. Given the price of Tokyo Kronos, though, I would expect it to be on the high end. So, but it remains to be seen. Also, a surprise announcement from Arvor Interactive, the people behind Pixel Ripped 1989 and Pixel Ripped 1995. Yuki VR, which is an anime-inspired bullet hell game. And evidently it has you holding the figurine of the main character, and you have to move them with your hand around obstacles, shooting things, etc. And if you watch the trailer or read the description, this is very heavily influenced by anime. Yeah, like giant cat, the demon heads and skulls and all sorts of traditional traditional anime elements. Excuse me. Now, my only hesitation about that is the holding of the figurine mechanic. I'm not entirely sold on that. That's the way oh crap, I'm blanking on Shooting Skies Overdrive. So that's the way that game was as well, kind of. You had an airplane attached to one of your hands and you had to fly it around with your hand. So I'm not quite sold on that, but Arvor does make good games, and they have a strong theme in all of the games, so this one included, of childhood nostalgia and reliving and returning to your childhood. So if they do this right, it should be really fun. So it's another one that I am looking forward to. And that is it that I know of. I believe there's one coming up on November, or no, there's speculation, I believe, that some of the bigger AAA titles might be on November 14th. I don't know if there's been any confirmation of that, though. So, but we'll have to see what will hit November 14th. I don't know. I'm going to keep an eye on that and maybe buy a new game. Just maybe wait a little bit longer. And moving on to news, because no good news is good news, like good news with Gary Gnews or something like that. So, as I hinted earlier, VR chat has hit record numbers of users as a result of the Quest 2. There is a report that they've hit 24,000 concurrent users since the Quest 2 launch. That means 24,000 people in world at the same time. Obviously not in the same world, but in the game, accessing their servers and visiting worlds, playing games, talking with each other, changing avatars, all that stuff. So that is pretty impressive, and congratulations to VR Chat for that accomplishment. And I have this in the news instead of the upcoming title, just because I wanted to have it begin in the news section. But Phasmophobia has been confirmed to be coming to Quest. We do not have a release date yet. So this is the space survival horror game from the developers of Dread Halls. We've seen a few teaser videos, but nothing really substantial on it yet. But we don't know exactly what the monster looks like and all that. But it's one that, given their track record with Dread Halls, should be really scary. So, yet another game that should have released last month before the 31st. Wolves in the Walls is also coming to Quest. Now, this is not a game, it's a kind of short story VR movie that's based on a Neil Gaiman story. Everything that I've heard indicate that it's really good, and I've been meaning to go through it with virtual desktop. I just haven't yet. When it comes to the Quest, that would obviously be the best way of experiencing it, because that'll be native and with no lag and whatnot. So, Neil Gaiman tells amazing stories, and this app, I believe it was a series of short episodes of it, and it has gotten rave reviews. So, and Warhammer Battle Sisters, which was rumored to be coming this month, but evidently that was a date they were banding about, but not the actual release date that they had in mind. Instead, it will be coming in December, and one big thing about it is that it will have multiplayer options at launch. So, another highly anticipated AAA title coming in December instead of when people initially thought, which was this month, November. And I think it's crucial that it has multiplayer at launch. I think that's a very good move on their part, rather than starting it out as a single player and then adding multiplayer later. Because, in my opinion, what keeps people in a game and in a game franchise is multiplayer. Because there's just inherently more replay value in a multiplayer game than there is in any single player game, because it is literally different every time you play it when it's multiplayer. So, good move on their part, coming in December. Moving away from games a little bit and the launches thereof, Space Popular, which is an architecture firm, I believe, architectural firm, has created virtual spaces for the first architecture conference held in VR. The name of the conference is Punto de Inflexión, or inflection point in English, and they've set it up as a large architectural space where attendees walk in and they're funneled set by the hallways into the rooms they want to go into. They get to choose their own avatars and all that stuff, and it just shows that VR may be moving slower than some of us like, but it's far from dead. It's still being adopted for new things like this. So, and a little bit of creepy news. More uncanny valley than creepy necessarily. Samsung announced back in January, I believe, their Neon project, which is basically they were going to have chatbots that looked like real people and tried to behave like real people and use neural networks and all that stuff to look and sound like a real person. Well, evidently that has evolved more, and whereas initially people were saying don't expect it to read the weather report to you or to do other assistant like stuff, now it will and can do assistant stuff. You can obtain a creator license and use it to make videos with, so you can have a artificial human as an anchor for a weather channel. So, personally, I'm not 100% sold on that. It's cool, but it's also kind of a little creepy. And I'm not entirely convinced also of just how accurately these the these AIs will be able to imitate humans. So we'll see. Coming soon to mall kiosk near you, life-size virtual person that actually interacts with you. Wouldn't that be something? And even creepier news comes from the Phasmophobia front. The Quest port for that game has been pushed back, ironically due to the incredible success that the developer has had. I mean, this game is just killing it right now. It's on Twitch. There's like 25,000 people streaming it. Over that many people following that game. So, and probably like 98% of them are not doing it in VR. This is a pancake game as well as VR. So, as a result of this incredible boom and success and explosion of the game's popularity, the developer is taking the time to push back, bringing it out of early access. He's going to rewrite some of the code. He's going to polish things. He's going to add things that are more substantial, evidently, than just another map. And he wants to make absolutely sure that he gets it as good as he can and as so close to his vision as possible before it comes out of early access. But as a result, that means he's not so focusing as much on the Quest port, and that may have to wait until early access is done, is out. He can take a breather and then work on the native Quest port. So, in the meanwhile, you can still play with Oculus Link or with Virtual Desktop. I play it with Virtual Desktop and it works fine. It works great. So, if you have access to either of those and want to play this game, go to get it. It's only $14 on Steam, and it's a very well done game that, in my mind, is kind of similar in the kind of game that it is to Clue, which is a perennially popular game. And if this is tapping into the same core mechanics, which I feel it is in a way, that would explain in part why it has been doing so well. So, kudos to the dev. As much as I'd like a native Quest port, so that friends of mine that are waiting for a Quest port to play will be able to play it. If the dev is taking this success and money from it to funnel resources back into the game and make it as good as it possibly can be, more power to them. That's what we want, is that kind of dedication from a developer. So, in other news, sailing in, we have Marineverse in partnership with WASP, which is spelled WASZP. Marineverse is going to bring foiling to VR. So not only will you be able to race a sailboat normally, you'll be able to do the hydrofoil like sailing races in VR now. Learn how to do it, practice it, and then go out and race with it. And I believe from the article that I read, Marineverse and WASP are going to be doing some uh, tie-ins between the virtual stuff and the real world stuff that WASP does. Like everyone who registers for this one real world event will get a free copy of the Steam game or something like that. So it's interesting what they are doing, and it sounds like it's a great way to learn how to hydrofoil sail safely without risk of any damage except maybe falling on your floor. So, now, our next to last bit of news is something a little bit strange. Okay, so there was someone who got a Quest 2 from Target, and he got a Quest 1 from Oculus. And he was all set to return the Oculus One and keep the already opened the Target One when he realized that the optics seemed a little bit different on his Quest 2 than the Quest 1 optics did. He no longer had his Quest 1 since he'd already gotten rid of it, so he opened up the Oculus Quest 2 and did a comparison between those two headsets. And he found that it appears that the Target headsets are using slightly different lenses that have a slightly different shape, a different chromatic aberration profile, etc., whatever you want to call it. And so as a result, they're a little bit blurred, they've got more God rate, they've got more ghosting, and he's got a thread on Reddit trying to track if other users have been noticing this as well. If this is true, that if you get it from Oculus, it's perfect on the optics, whereas if you get it from Target, it's suboptimal. I'm not sure that's a kosher thing. That bears some investigation, I think. But what do you think? How are the optics on your Quest 2? If you have one. Do you have a lot of, or more blurriness than you would expect, especially in the right eye? Is there more chromatic aberration, more seeming shifting of the images, etc.? Let us know in the comments, because I am curious. I haven't had any issues with my Quest 2, but your mileage may vary, so feel free to let us know in the comments what you think about that. And the last bit of news is actually breaking as of a few minutes before I started recording this episode. Somnium Space is joining the slew of PC VR games that are coming to the Quest. This is another social platform, but it's tied to crypto. Their description of themselves is from their Twitter profile: "We are an open, social, and persistent VR platform built on blockchain. Build, import NFTs, and instantly explore. Universe shaped entirely by players." On their Twitter, they have 4 screenshots fresh from their Oculus Quest client. One is kind of a neon purple walkway through what looks like a park of some sort, and there's a statue of a couple looks like either fresh out of a dance or something, and they start kissing each other. The palm trees are also neon purplish colors, and there's another screenshot that's showing an arcade hall, and looks like a sports stadium in the back of it, a football slash the baseball field. So looks like they've been working hard on it, and it'll be interesting to see if this works out for them and it brings in influx of new users as pretty much every other game released on the Quest 2 has. So I've been long interested in Somnium Space, but if I remember right, I was not able to get it working on my computer. I'm really not sure why. They had like their own installer and it wasn't available on Steam. You had to use their own installer for it, and it kept getting just stuck or something like that. So, but if it comes to Quest natively, I can finally check it out and see what all of the hubbub is about. So that brings us, however, to the end of the show. So if you have any compliments for us, any insults for us, please keep those to yourself. Just to file them in the round file over there. But no, so seriously. As I said before, we would appreciate it if you like, subscribe, drag your friends over by their hair to like and subscribe. Also, if they don't have any hair, just put super glue on your hand and then put your hand on their bald head and drag them over that way. So we need all the help we can get in growing this channel. So with no further ado, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your week. Have fun. Bye.